Ben Domenech with me this morning. All right, Ben, is it too late for President Biden to get out of the identity trap?
I think it's way too late, Stuart, and I think you're completely right. Well, the disaster of this administration has been so many of these hires that were put in place just to check political boxes, to appeal to different racial interest groups and the like, as opposed to actually assessing who's going to be best at the job. You want someone who's good at their job and actually capable of fulfilling the role for the country that is needed. And unfortunately for Joe Biden, he's surrounded himself by really a JV team that has gotten further ahead based on affirmative action like values and trying to promote people and check boxes, as opposed to getting the right person in the right position. And that's one of the reasons that we see the disaster that is going on in a rolling way in our country today, not just on the border, not just on the economic numbers that you were just mentioning, but also, of course, in chaotic ways all around the world. With even the leadership of someone like Tony Blinken right now at this moment has to be questioned when it comes to the way that he's treated the situation in Israel and Gaza. And these are people who just are not qualified for the jobs that they've been given, but they're loyalists and they check boxes, and that's why they're there.
Not good. A group of Republican senators wrote a letter to the CEO of NPR. They're concerned over the political bias at the network. Ben, do you think this is the beginning of the end for NPR?
Well, I think the beginning of the end for NPR actually came several years ago when they made a decision sort of similarly to what you were talking about with this, a promotion of a woke agenda over the actual things that they ought to be doing, to shift away from news. If you actually look back 15, 20 years ago, NPR was pretty consistently higher up on the list of trusted news sources for independent and even right-leaning Americans, because they were viewed as being perhaps biased to the left, but still pretty fair when it came to their coverage. In the years since then, and especially in the aftermath of the summer of George Floyd and everything else, they have shifted completely to the point where almost every segment that they have is about race. It's about various sort of woke priorities and disaffected groups and the like. It's completely unlistenable, really. And for someone who grew up like me listening to a lot of NPR, my parents listened to NPR. There were plenty of programs that had high quality journalism within them. It's really disappointing to see them, degrade to the point where they're not even in the business of doing anything approaching news anymore. NPR deserves to be defunded. It ought to be defunded, and it can go off and just be its own woke self and fund itself with selling tote bags and the like.
That's a pretty categorical dismissal. We'll take it. Ben Domenech, thank you very much indeed.